Hey, what's going on, everybody? It is Mental Health Month, and I want to share some things with you in this video to help couples get better handling mental health challenges. And of course, mental health challenges can range over a number of topics. It ranges over a number of challenges. Some of those are brain oriented, some of them are emotional, relational, and their essence, but they're real challenges. And today in this video, I want to offer you some insights about anxiety and the ways that it impacts your marriage, my marriage, every marriage, because anxiety is an absolute real issue. It's a real challenge. And so today I want to offer you, as I said, some insights. Let's just start by saying everybody has mental health challenges. Yeah, no matter where you are, no matter how healthy you are, we can have them. And certainly everyone carries with us a level of anxiety. I know some people think, well, I'm not anxious. My spouse is the anxious one. But the truth is, anxiety is a part of the human experience. And all of us at some point, at some time, we experience a very present, a very real sense of anxiety. Not all anxiety is bad, by the way. Some anxiety we need. It helps us get ready for big things, for big challenges, for big tests or big work assignments. So all of it is not bad. Before we get too far into today's teaching, I want to introduce you to a free workshop. It's my free couples communication workshop. If you haven't gotten access to it, you don't want to miss it. Communication is one of the most important parts, one of the most challenging parts of any marriage. And if you can grow in communication, you can grow in your marriage. All right, so now back to our topic. You can get the link, by the way, in the description down there, and just make sure you get, just click on it. It's free. There's nothing, it won't require anything of you. I really want to resource you and help you with some real good communication insights. That communication workshop is a part of my core curriculum that we call the Dream Marriage Masterclass. And if you have not seen or accessed the Dream Marriage Masterclass, let me encourage you, you want to get it. Really, for the price of less than two or three counseling appointments, you can get some really powerful insights that will help transform your marriage as you apply the principles, the teachings in the Dream Marriage Masterclass. Now, some of you don't know me because I haven't been doing this very long. I've been coaching for a lot of years, but online is what I'm saying. So we're just sort of getting back to dropping content on our YouTube channel. So if you find today's content really helpful, please make sure and let us know. But my name is Rod Harrison. I am a relationships and marriage expert. I've been working with couples for well over 30 years. My wife Sherry and I, we've been married for 33 years this year, and love working with couples. We help couples who are wildly successful but are struggling in their marriages begin to succeed in their marriages as they maintain success in their very demanding careers. Most of my work has been with people in the professional sports arena, people in business, people in education. And so we love helping people who are succeeding wildly not leave their marriages behind because so many people who work in very demanding spaces, whether you're entrepreneurs or whether you are um, physicians or professional athletes, right? It puts a lot of strain on your marriage. And what I do is help couples who are in successful roles, succeeding in life, succeed at marriage and family. So that might fit you. So make sure you look in the description and check out the Dream Marriage Masterclass, which is a great self study, something that you and your spouse can do together. Great exercises after each module will take you deep into things like communication, deep into things like rebuilding trust where it's been broken, deep into things like how to understand and care about each other's emotional needs and how to begin to heal the relationship that you may be thinking about giving up on. All right, now let's get back to anxiety, and let's talk about what anxiety is. Simply put, anxiety is simply a fear about the future. It's a fear about the future. What's going to happen next? What's going to happen if? What if we don't this? What if I don't that? What if the kids don't this? What if this happens? What if that happens? And it can be extremely overwhelming. Oftentimes, anxiety rises because we're responding to some previous trauma in our lives. Some people say that there are people who are just wired for anxiety. And I'm not sure how much that might be true, but I do know that when you've had traumatic experiences in your past, um, anxiety has a way of creeping up unannounced. It can make you seem irrational. It can make you look like you're just flipping around. Like, where did that come from? All of a sudden, and you can carry a lot of shame because of it. And this can happen to either spouse or both spouses. So let's talk about what it looks like in your marriage. How does it show up, and what can you do to address anxiety in your marriage? So, one of the things that anxiety causes us to do is to do the most. Are you the person in your marriage who's always doing the most? Or some of you are probably thinking, yep, I got a spouse who is always doing the most, right? Always hovering over the kids, always getting the kids to this and to that, or always hovering over the finances. Well, I got to go do this, and I got to go do that, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. And your to do list is always crazy, and you're always going and moving, and you got to do something next, got to do this, got to do that, right? The pace can be extraordinary. We call that over functioning. When you're afraid that something's going to get dropped and something won't get done, overfunctioning becomes a real thing. We coined a term in my marriage years ago when I was not really aware of anxiety. I noticed every time be preparing to entertain in our home, my wife would begin to, she'd get in this flurry and she had to get everything just so and everything to be perfect. And it got to a point where I just couldn't take it. I'm like, what is going on? And so I said, you have entertainment anxiety. I called it EA. I didn't realize it's like actually a real thing, right? This is anxiety over functioning. Sometimes we want to look our best. We want people to see us our best. And so anxiety makes us over function, do the most, go to the nth degree. Why? Because we can be afraid that in the future someone's going to see us through a negative light. We don't want to look badly, look unprepared. Well, one of the other things that anxiety does is it can cause us to do the least, like to do nothing. You heard of the flight or fight syndrome? Some people just get absolutely overwhelmed and they stop. They don't do nothing. Like there's nothing. They just stop, like they're frozen, like deer in the facing the headlights of your car, right? Frozen because anxiety can make us stop doing anything. And you might be angry with a spouse who is over functioning. You might be angry with a spouse who is under functioning because they're overwhelmed and you can't understand why can't they just keep it moving and do what they need to do. Well, because anxiety could be playing a part in their life and impacting your marriage. Now, one of the ways that this anxiety shows up in our marriages is you can be one or the other very controlling. Oh, oh, did I just touch a nerve? Right, very controlling. And the other spouse can feel like, why are you always trying to control me? I just need some space. Let me live my life. Like, stop already. And that controlling can feel very parental. And so you may be saying things to your husband like, you are not my father, or to your wife, you are not my mother's, right? Just stop trying to control me, trying to control the kids, trying to control this, trying to control that. A lot of people fight over money and don't realize that the fights over money are usually because there's anxiety about money. I was leading a course recently, training some leaders in how to help couples overcome or recover from infidelity. And one of the people in the course was an amazing author and teacher on finances. And she said, this is so real, right? She said, so many of the couples we work with, Michelle Singletary is her name, by the way. She said, one, she's a great author. You might want to look her up. She said, so many of the couples we work with are fighting over money. And now I realize it's because they are anxious. One or the other is very anxious about money. Are we going to run out? Are we overspending? What are we going to do if? And especially if they grew up and there weren't a lot of financial resources, that becomes a huge source of anxiety. Let me give you a couple other ways that it shows up. It can show up with a spouse who's extremely rigid, like every detail has to be just right. Everything has to be in place. It has to be, everything is well ordered, well planned out. And when a string or hair is out of place, they're even so well ordered and rigid that their clothing is always on point. It has to be on point. Their look has to be right. Their car has to be right because they're very anxious. And so it shows up as a very rigid way of being. And you may be dealing with that in your marriage, but there's a reason for it. It's probably because life was very out of control somewhere in their journey, likely in what we call their first formation in their early life as a child. And so when things were way out of control, maybe they had a parent who was addicted, or maybe there was fighting, or maybe there was both. They can become very rigid because they need to feel like they can control what's going on, what's happening to them, because life used to just happen to them. I hope this is making sense. One way it shows up, let me give you another, has to do with this whole idea of conflicts, right? When a person is feeling anxiety, feeling the overwhelm of anxiety, they want to fight or lash out or to create conflicts because that's the way they learn to manage their anxiety. They got to fight or argue it out. And so that's how anxiety can show up. Lastly, it can show up as what we call triangulating, right? Getting people into the argument on their side, literally creating a triangle, right? And so one person goes to this person, and that person will go to that person, and rather than come to each other and learn how to resolve conflicts, they start bringing in people like the children. So, what do you think about what your dad was saying? Well, you know your mother is always doing so and so, right? And they're trying to get one person, one of the kids perhaps, onto their side, and because their anxiety is taking over. Now, what we see happening in marriages as it relates to anxiety happens in all sorts of family systems. It happens in groups at work. Um, it happens in organizations, businesses, right? It happens everywhere, and that's because anxiety is out of control, and you got to get control of your anxiety. And so, what I want to recommend some good coaching resources, right? Get a good coach to help you with your anxiety, or get yourself a good therapist who really understands the roots of anxiety. And by all means, if you want a place to work on this as a couple, I want to invite you into one of our dream marriage group experiences. We launch those usually 2 to 3 times a year. We'll keep you posted when they're happening. But it's a great place for you to begin to understand how anxiety is impacting your marriage. So I gave you a whole lot. I hope that was helpful to you. Hey, if this is helpful and you would love more of this kind of teaching and content, let us hear from you. We'd love to hear from you. Want to understand what are some of the things that you'd like me to talk about as it relates to your marriage relationship. So whether it's a mental health challenge, right, or an emotional challenge, maybe you argue a lot, maybe there's been infidelity. How can we serve you? How can we help you here? So I'm Rod Hairston. I am a marriage coach and a relationship expert, as I mentioned. I've been working for many years with high performing professionals who are succeeding wildly in their professions, but struggling in their marriages. And I'd love to help you get your marriage on track. Hey, don't forget the communication workshop. It's a free workshop just for you. I want you to get that. There's a link in the description. Enjoy it. And if the Dream Marriage Masterclass could be helpful to you, you'll see a link for that as well. Hey, I'll see you the next time. I'm so glad that you were here. um, with Rod Harrison at the Dream Marriage Experience. Yeah, we changed the name. I don't think I mentioned that. We've changed our name from the A Minute for Your Marriage. We're gonna You'll be hearing more about the Dream Marriage Experience. All right, I can't wait to see you the next time. Have an amazing, amazing, amazing